We're joined right now by the head football coach at Notre Dame. He is in his second season in that capacity after serving as the Fighting Irish's defensive coordinator and linebackers coach in 2021. Notre Dame finished last season 9-4 overall. They beat South Carolina in the Gator Bowl 45-38. Saturday, they beat NC State 45-24. They moved to 3-0 on the year. They are ranked number 9 in this week's AP poll. They're going to host Central Michigan Saturday. We are joined by their head coach via Zoom, Marcus Freeman. Marcus, it is awesome to have you back on the program. How you feeling?
Doing great, Jim. Glad to be back on your show, man.
Dude, you look great. It's great to have you back on the show. Thanks so much. So let me ask you about this. There's so much to like about that win over NC State, including the fact, Marcus, that the offense produced 456 total yards, 6 touchdowns. I want to ask you this, though. How pleased were you with the way your guys responded to that hour and 45-minute lightning delay, which was highlighted by Audric Estime's 80-yard TD run on the very first play after the game resumed?
Yeah, it was, I think, a reflection of a resilient bunch of guys that were able to just stay focused. We kept talking inside the locker room. At first, we thought it was 30 minutes, and then it got pushed back longer and longer. And finally, when we got the clear to go, those guys got warmed up. And Audric, actually, the funny story is they were talking about Audric had a hot dog during that break and went out there and, opened up with a 70-yard touchdown. So what I did realize that before every game, we're going to make sure he has a hot dog.
It's hilarious, actually. Man, it must be nice to be that young, right? I mean, dude, you're a young guy, but it must be really nice to be able to slam a hot dog and then come back right out and bounce back and do something like that. Must be nice.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know if there's many people that could do that, but Audric Estime is a unique individual. And I couldn't even think about eating a hot dog during a game, but he did and went out there and then he didn't faze him one bit. And so he's one of the few guys that can do that.
Clean, burning fuel. If I slam a hot dog, I probably need a week off. Marcus Freeman joining us right now. Listen, if you didn't watch that game and you just saw the final score, you might not know it because this was a one-score game after 3 quarters. How pleased were you then with the way your team got their boot on their throat and frankly stomped them out in the final 15 minutes and finished and won this one going away the way they did?
Yeah, I think that's the most pleasing part about the performance is you never wish for the game to be a super close game, but for the guys to be, it was a 7-point game, as you said, with NC State had the ball in our territory, and our deep was able to force a missed field goal, and we were able to really start, pouring on the points after that. And so I was really pleased with the way this group finished that game when it was a tough situation going into the fourth quarter. And so it tells me a lot about the leadership of this team and the resiliency of the group.
We are talking to Marcus Freeman, head coach at Notre Dame. Now, when you talk about leadership, of course, you start with Sam Hartman as your quarterback. Obviously, he put up big numbers when he was in Wake Forest. He became the ACC's all-time leader in touchdown passes. What's it like to have a guy of that quality, that maturity, and that experience both on and off the field?
I mean, he's been such a huge addition to our team, and we all know how talented he is. You could see that during his time at Wake Forest. But the leadership traits that he's brought here, the ability to not only perform at a high level, but raise the performance of those guys around him, to me, has been the most pleasing part of it, having him in our program, is that he makes those guys around him better, right? He was voted a captain. He'd only been here for probably 6 months, was voted a captain by his teammates. And to me, it's just a great reflection of the way our players view him, our team views him, and the trust and leadership abilities that he has.
Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman joining us once again. So Sam is good, and it's early, but I'll ask anyway. He's good. Is he Heisman Trophy good this year?
Yeah, I think he is. There's a lot that goes into saying he's Heisman Trophy good. Do I think he has Heisman Trophy abilities? Absolutely. Sam's focus is to do whatever our team needs for us to have success. And in the first 3 games, he's put up some really good numbers. But more than anything, he scored points. We've been efficient on offense. There's been very few pre-snap penalties. So I think Sam Hartman is extremely talented. I don't know what the ceiling is for him, but if he continues to play the way he's playing and we perform the way we're performing as a team, he definitely will be in that Heisman Trophy conversation.
There's no doubt about that. Marcus Freeman joining us. You know, when you and I were talking, I don't think we were 30 seconds in before you were talking about the resilience of the group. So I know how important that is to you. You're looking for toughness. You're looking for resilience from your players. But I would imagine they also need to see it from their leadership because they're going to take their cue from you. I thought that you and the team collectively showed a lot of resilience when you bounced back from that 0-2 start last year when you started your head coaching career tenure to win 9 of your final 11. If you were to take me back, and the bowl game, if you were to take me back, obviously self-talk is so important. What were you telling yourself and what were you telling your team after you lost those first 2 games last year?
Yeah, I think the conversations that you have with yourself in your office after those tough moments are different than what you portray to the team. You know, I had to take a deep dive really into myself as a leader and what weren't we doing as a program to get the results that we wanted. And then in front of the team, you have to make sure you have confidence in the plan. You have to have confidence and be honest with them about where we've come short, right? We've come up short in these areas. We have to improve here. And we got to get back to work. You know, we can't control the outcomes at times. We got to control the things that the responses we have to those type of games. We got to control the way we practice and our mindset of winning each moment of each day. And so you have to be a confident leader because the minute you lose faith in yourself in front of your players, they'll follow your lead, you know. But in the office, you got to say, okay, what areas of our program do we need to fix? Because we have to fix them. A lot of people tell you in those tough times to trust the process, but I got a strong belief you got to fix the process.
Oh, that's a great line. Marcus Freeman joining us. Listen, when you go to a place like Notre Dame, there's obviously so much tradition, there's so much heritage, but you want to put your own stamp on it. You want to bring your own culture, and everybody talks about culture, but, you know, to start like that and then to have your team bounce back, clearly there was buy-in and you had to have a culture. How would you describe the culture that you want your teams and your program to be known for there at Notre Dame?
What we say is 3 things that we want to make sure that if you are an outsider, you come into our program, this is what you'll feel, right? And culture isn't what we say and what we put on walls, but it's really the actions of what people feel from the outside when they come into our program. Number 1 is challenge everything. And for me, it's to find a better way. And so what you hope that you have a group of guys that are choosing hard every day, finding a better way to do everything that we're doing. And number 2 is unit strength. And that what we say that means is choose to love. We're choosing to love our teammates. We're choosing to put the greater good of this program in front of myself as an individual. And that's not easy to do, right? To be unselfish, to choose to love your teammates. But that's what we have to make sure we do if we want to have success. And that last is that competitive spirit, right? We say it's a refusal to lose. It's we win or we learn, right? And sometimes we win and we learn. And so what you want to see is a group that's just never satisfied, continuously getting better, and playing with that relentless effort and attitude that we demand here at the University of Notre Dame.
So, Marcus, one of the things you just said is something that I think is really important. And if I'm being honest and transparent, I don't always remember this, but I talk to a lot of people that I respect and admire that do say this and they believe this. Go back to what you just said about choosing hard every day, man. That is so important. What do you mean by that, choosing hard every day?
Well, I think it's human nature to the minute you feel pain, the minute you feel discomfort, to say, okay, there's an easier route. We don't have to continue to choose the harder route. But I think, obviously, if you want to grow and you want to have success, you have to continue to choose hard. You have to, and it can be in the classroom where you choose hard to study. You choose hard in society and make those right decisions, but you choose hard inside this football building. Don't get through practice. Don't get through the day. We got to win the moment and win these days one day at a time. So it's just continuously getting your mindset back into the present. Catching yourself when you're drifting out of it and focusing on what it really takes to win the moments of these days. And that's not an easy thing to do, but we have to continue to choose hard and choose the things that we know it's going to take to have success.
Every single day, everything matters. Every second matters, especially this week. Like, no disrespect intended to Central Michigan, but of course you've got Ohio State on the other side. I know you're hammering this point home all day, every day, and I also know you're dealing with some young athletes that probably, when you're not around them every second of every single day, who knows what they're seeing or reading or hearing, any sense at all or any concern at all that maybe it might get away and they might be thinking about Ohio State and not Central Michigan?
I think that's reality, right? Is that maybe it's not you as an individual, but there's so much noise outside of this place that gets into your coaches' heads, your players' heads, and what we have to do, as I told the group yesterday, is it's natural that at times you'll drift, right? And that you drift to Ohio State, you drift to an outcome later in the season, but you have to refocus, catch yourself drifting and refocus on winning the moments. And that's the challenge. Like, we have to beat Central Michigan today in practice. We got to beat them in how we prepare. And that's what matters. That's what's going to take care of the outcome on Saturday. So, yes, is that natural that people will drift to Ohio State, the USC, all these different things? Yeah. And we understand that, and we don't shy away from that. But our challenge is as individuals to make sure anytime that happens, we make sure we get ourselves refocused back in the moment, because winning these moments is what's going to take care of those outcomes.
So I love that. I've got about 90 seconds. Noise. Marcus, what do you do with the noise? I mean, is that like drifting, like you know it's there, just be aware of it, and once you start to get caught up, pull yourself back in? Or do you tell your guys, whatever you do, avoid the noise at all costs? What do we do with the noise?
I say we control the noise. And you as an individual have to be able to understand how loud that noise can be, right? If you can't handle the noise on social media, then you got to get off of it. If you can, great. Enjoy social media and make sure you just don't let it really affect the way you prepare. You know, it's the same thing. You can get noise from your parents. You can get noise from your closest friends. And so you have to make sure you control how loud that noise is, because it can't impact what's important. And that's continue to stay in the moment. That's continuous to find a way to improve and stay on your journey, right? Some of the noise can be, hey, why aren't you playing as much as your teammate? But his journey is different than your journey. So you have to focus on your journey, control the outside noise that can maybe sway you off of your road and your path. And each individual's different, right? Each individual's different. But I always tell them we control how loud that noise is in our head.
I love the energy. I love the message. And very clearly, this is why Notre Dame, in large part, is 3-0. Marcus Freeman, my guest. Marcus, I appreciate you. I appreciate the relationship. Good luck this weekend, and thank you for a great conversation.
Thanks, Jim. It's been an honor, man. Good to see you.
You too. Great to see you, Coach. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame head coach. That was a great conversation. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell to be the first to know when we do upload a new video.